Good morning, kia ora. I've been up for a couple of hours. I've had a shower, I've had my coffee, I'm currently eating my breakfast, but I've had to sit with the dream that I had because I'm trying to make sense of it. It was a very quick dream, but I don't know if it was prophetic or symbolic. And it was about Bill Gates. And I dreamt, it started off, we were in the newsroom of the Ministry of Souls, but instead of it being animated, it was real life. So I was seeing my animated characters as real physical human beings. And it's like I was behind the camera, but watching through the camera. I wasn't the cameraman, I was watching the news report through the lens of the camera. And it was like, how do I you know when some news stations in America and that report the impending execution of someone, and there's almost like a leading up to, and then there's the announcement that the execution had taken place. This was, and now we go live to the execution of Bill Gates, and it was being broadcast all over the world. But the thing was, his execution was taking place in not the jungle, but in a jungle setting that looked like Asia or Oceania, like Asia Pacific. It looked like, see, the thing is that while it looked somewhere like Papua New Guinea or Thailand or somewhere like that, because it was very jungly, it was very jungle based. There were all these people standing around. He got led by two people to this pole in the ground. He had his hands tied behind his back behind the pole so he couldn't escape, and they blindfolded him. There were three other people who had already been prepared, and then they shot him. They shot them all. They shot them right there in front of everyone. There was like a bamboo style, it's like it was in like a village, and they were executing them in the courtyard. Now, there was that Rothschild who went to Papua New Guinea thinking that he could be friends with everyone and everything was going to be great, and they ate him. It was like that, but it can't have been Papua New Guinea because they wouldn't have guns, they wouldn't have, he was being executed, the whole world knew he was being executed. The whole world was tuning in, and there was total and utter silence. No one said a word. And there was that, like, even I could hear like the, like the death drums, dum, dum, brum, bum, bum, like that. As they, it's like it was this heartbeat or something was beating so fast that it sounded like death drums. But if it was Papua New Guinea, they wouldn't execute, they wouldn't even, they would just use machetes and spears and chop them up and eat them. Like, there would be no, so it's definitely not Papua New Guinea, but do you know what I mean when I describe that kind of jungle setting and that? But the houses, the huts were made from like bamboo and flax and wood in it. It was very sort of Asian Pacific sort of jungle setting. And yeah, there were 3 other people. They were already lined up and prepared. I swear to God, one of them was Tedros. I can't see their faces, but in analysing the dream, I swear one of them was Tedros. And my first instinct when I woke up and started analysing it was China. It was in China. But I can analyse it to try and understand what it meant, like on a symbolic level. But it felt very strongly Asian. If it wasn't China, it was somewhere like Thailand. And he was terrified. He urinated himself. He was absolutely terrified. He had trouble standing up. They propped him up, like he was terrified. He died a coward, like he was terrified. And they shot them, and that was it. It was over, and there was just total silence. And then it cut back to the Ministry of Souls News Network, and Doba Drexel, our karmic reporter, who made a joke about, usually I'm known as the roving news reporter, your lovable roving karmic news reporter, but I wasn't going to this one, no thank you. And then she goes, at, I think she said 12:07 Pacific time, Bill Gates, and then she rattled the names of these people off. I don't remember the names of the 3 other people, but I swear to you, one of them was that Tedros dude. And she said have been executed. And then there was just like fireworks erupted all over the world, like fireworks and champagne bottles, like corks, just mass celebration. It was like when I zoomed back to look over planet Earth, every country in the world was lit up like a Christmas tree. And I could hear the cheering and the celebrations and the people crying and people getting drunk, and it was like I've never seen anything like it. Like this was 1,000 times more powerful of a celebration than like VE Day of World War II. Nobody mourned this man. Nobody tried to defend him. This is in trying to interpret the dream. It's like he went somewhere. He was somewhere with these 4 people, which is why I keep talking about, why I'm mentioning Rothschild when he went to Papua New Guinea. It's like he went somewhere, they went somewhere with intentions of thinking, oh, we're going to do this and do that and blah, blah, blah. And they nabbed them. Like, boom. It's like they got rounded up. They were found guilty of genocide, of mass murder, of whatever. And like the courts, whether it was the court of public opinion or whether it was the actual legal court, they just wheeled these people out. They prepared them one at a time. It's like they were doing it, making sure that he watched everybody else get tied up so he knew what was coming for him, but they purposely made sure he went last. And his knees were buckling. He couldn't believe what was happening. Like, he couldn't understand why people weren't okay with why they were there. And it's almost like, I don't know if it was, I can't say that it was like vigilante justice because it felt legal. If the Ministry of Souls News Network was involved, it would be karmic and it would be legal. We don't get involved in things that are illegal when we report the news. And this felt like it was legally justified. But it was like the second they got nabbed, They were taken to trial and like an hour later sentenced to death, and they were taken out and shot. And it felt like China, or it felt like Thailand, or somewhere like that. But instead of making a big hoo-ha about it by having prisons and, you know, courts and all that, it's almost like they took them away. Could it be Guantanamo? But would they do firing squad though? Because they were definitely shot. Now the thing is, if you want to look at it from a symbolic level, a shot to the heart is it means it's personal. It's a personal vendetta. It's done with the express purpose of making that person suffer on an emotional level. So maybe it was his family members, maybe it was his friends. It was definitely people that he was there. It's like he was just caught completely. They were caught completely unaware. They weren't expecting it. So, you know, bullets, gunshots. It's like it's done on purpose. It's intended, and he was shot through the heart. They shot him through the heart, which means it's personal. They got him where it hurt him the most. They wanted to make sure that before they took him, he suffered the most that a person could suffer on an emotional level. But it was done in the jungle or away from kind of prying eyes, away from the population. How do I explain it? So that nobody could interfere, or so that nobody could... They didn't want crowds. Because let's face it, if that was going to happen in real life, there's people from all over the world that would be flying into that country just to watch the execution. There'd be millions of people that would do it just to witness the glory of it. But this was done privately, done quietly. Everybody knew it was happening. Everybody knew it was going to happen. But it's like everybody was okay with it. Everyone just sat and waited with bated breath. And the second it was over, everybody breathed a sigh of relief around the world. And I swear to you that Tedros was there on his right, I'm looking at it now in my head, on his right-hand side. Excuse me, he was the one nearest on his right-hand side. I'm currently eating toast while I'm talking. I'm not talking with my mouth full, but I just had a massive mouthful before I hit record, so I do apologise for any disturbances in my stomach as it's trying to digest. Peanut butter and bananas on toast. It's one of my favourite things in the whole world. And I was still kind of technically chewing when I hit record, and I've just swallowed. Which is most unladylike, and I do apologise, but I can't help how my body reacts to digestion. Yeah, so it's like that song, there's a kind of hush all over the world tonight, all over the world, people, something, we're falling in love. That one, it was like the second the news was announced, the whole world lit up with joy and celebration and love and humanity and compassion, like Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead. It was like that. Everybody knew it was happening though. Now the thing is, if you want to look at it from a symbolic point of view, I think him and his pals are going to get caught off guard. And the country that was doing it was justified in doing it because I want to say they were the country that took the hardest hit, which is why I'm wondering if it was China, whether to redeem themselves, that's what they do, because they're the ones that took the hardest hit from the COVID thing. China took the biggest hit out of everyone, especially from a reputational point of view. Chinese people were treated really badly all over the world because of that man's decision. But it was like there wasn't a single person on the planet that was upset. And I can even say that in regards to my king, because it's like once these 4 people were removed from the equation, so to speak, peace was restored. We went back to how it was in the 80s, and that when nobody cared, no one gave a care about that sort of thing, because it wasn't the threat that we know it to be today. It's like it was almost like we got to start from the beginning. And when I think of the 80s, especially in America, I think about like it was like the boom of the yuppies and, you know, people making money, and, you know, the stock market boom, and the, you know, real estate boom, and the housing market boom, and, you know, productivity and international trade in that. It's like we went back to the beginning. And the fact that it was in a jungle is it's divine justice. This isn't just legal justice. This isn't just societal justice. It's coming direct from God. It's coming direct from Papatuanuku. It's coming direct from the sun. It's coming direct from the animals. It's coming from the divine being, which is animals, earth, nature, human life, the universe, the sun, all the things that they have poisoned. Now the thing is, like I said, I think Tedros was there, but he seemed inconsequential. Gates was the main focus, the star on his heart, the fact that he was the main focus of the dream. It's like the rest of them are going down because of him, but he's the main focus because he was the entire cause of it all, the instigator. And then after it was announced on the MSNN, Ministry of Souls News Network, Dobra Drexel said, and now to you, and now let's cut to you. And the camera turned, and I'm going to get emotional. Queen Elizabeth was sitting next to her, and she raised a glass of sherry, I think it was, and she just said, cheers. Cheers. And then I woke up. I always get emotional when I see that woman, because her and I have been through a lot together with my physics, with my coach, and she was killed because of those vaccines. The vaccines gave her son cancer. She is adamant, 100% adamant and determined, and yeah, cheers. She had the biggest smile on her face, like she was saying, gotcha. She had that. See, Queen Elizabeth, she loves to have the final word, and it's always hilariously sarcastic and comedically funny. She has an incredible sense of humour, but she likes to have the last word. She will, if you look at everything that her and I have worked on together to take these people down, when she's helped me predict things that have absolutely 100 million% come true and are starting to come true right now as we speak, she always has the final say, and it's always hilarious. And that look on her face before she sipped her sherry was, gotcha. And his organisations and the people that caused all of this existed no more. It was like everybody knew at that point, if if we get involved in this, we're next. So they all just very quietly stepped back. They all started selling their companies and their stocks and their shares and they all very quietly just moved back, because they knew that if they didn't pay attention to what they'd just witnessed, they were next. It was a beautiful ending. It was like, yeah, it was just a beautiful way to end it. So, on behalf of Queen Elizabeth II, cheers. Let's see what happens, eh? That's what I said. I don't know if it was prophetic or symbolic. Maybe a bit of both. But one thing I do know is that when I predict something, especially when my Lil's involved, it always comes true. And it always ends up making perfect sense in the end. So let's see what happens. So, my Lil, your son's going to be fine. Just, can you please point in the direction of what country I'm supposed to move to, please? Because anyway, I have secured myself a head chef and a quality control expert for supernatural foods. I am over the moon. I'm over the moon. They're people that I trust dearly. And they have an exquisite palate when it comes to food and recipes and that. And this morning, I just secured a head chef who's going to be in charge of supernatural foods, and they will work with my son Gabriel. So I'm so excited. It's like we're moving forward now. So get ready, world, because something's about to happen with Bill Gates, and I had always predicted that he was one of the ones that God was going to, he's marked on God's list, and when you're marked on God's list, that means that you're marked for death, basically. But how it happens is up to him. I don't see usually how it's going to happen, but lately I've been getting a heads up. There's been murmurings from upstairs about Donald Trump and his heart. Elon Musk, it could be an overdose. And with Bill Gates, it could be execution. And it didn't look like a execution. It didn't look like a standard execution. It looked like it was vigilante justice. But the thing is, I know that it was 100% legal, because we are not allowed to report anything that is illegal or a lie, because we're the Ministry of Souls, right? We're the news network for all the gods and all the heavens and the underworld and purgatory and, you know, the karmic courts and that. So everything we do has to be 100% legal. We're above the law. We're more than judicial law. We're karmic law. We're divine law. And we would never, ever, ever, ever be allowed to report anything that was a lie or made up or AI or anything like that. Everything that comes out of our mouths has to be the truth, and it has to be legal, both in the karmic courts and in judicial courts. The two laws of karmic balance and karmic justice have to be aligned with legal and judicial law on earth, because it's how people learn their lessons in the next life or in this one. And he wasn't getting reincarnation, he wasn't getting reborn, he was getting his genetics wiped out, which means children would become infertile. He wouldn't have grandchildren and grandchildren or great-grandchildren, like the next generation sort of thing. They'd be infertile, or they'd die before they had children, or that sort of thing. Like his genetics is going to get wiped out, which to a soul is considered hell on earth. Because he created hell on earth, his ancestry will now experience hell on earth. So, yeah, let's just see what happens. I'm just chuffed that I've got myself a head chef, because I've been looking for one for a couple of years now, and someone in charge of taste testing and quality control of my supernatural foods. So, I've only been awake a couple of hours. So, yeah, anyway, let's see what happens, eh? I'll speak to you later. Cheers! Ka kite anō.